Well, as you can hear, the teams are now coming out there in New Jersey. Tough conditions. Let's hope we get all the things we're hoping for from this game. It's time now to sit back and enjoy the action. Our final warm-up match ahead of the World Cup finals. It's Scotland against Bolivia with Pat Nevin and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks very much, Kenny. Yes, it's final dress rehearsal time for Scotland with the World Cup just a week away. Steve Clarke's side take on Bolivia in New Jersey. It's 4 p.m. local time, and the conditions, as we've been hearing, going to be very testing for these Scotland players, to say the least. Sweltering temperatures, barely a breath of air. Very similar, you'd imagine, to what they'll be up against next weekend and for the duration of the World Cup. The teams are lined up in anticipation of the national anthems. And first off, it will be Flower of Scotland. As you can hear, a good number of the Tartan Army have made their way to the States nice and early. And good voice this afternoon. Inside the Sports Illustrated Stadium in Harrison, New Jersey as well. And Bolivia, nominally the home team, they are wearing green shirts with white shorts. The Scots in that new change salmon pink number with a little blue pinstripe seems very popular with the travelling fans, almost more of those than the navy blue ones. As the teams go through the handshakes with the match officials. Referee is from Houston, Texas, Rosendo Mendoza. There's a Costa Rican VAR on duty as well, and Chris Penzo, as the two teams prepare to get us underway. Just run you through the Scotland team quickly once more. It's Angus Gunn in goal. The back four is Hickey, Hanley, Hendry and Robertson. In the midfield, you've got Lewis Ferguson and Scott McTominay. In the centre, Gannon Doak and Christie either side of them, with Shankland and Adams up front. Running a little bit behind time here because they're just about to do the coin toss and the exchange of pennants there. The Scotland captain Andy Robertson preparing to hand over in the coin toss made by a kilted local as well. So all happening out there. Pat Nevin, what are you anticipating from this game?
I'm very, very intrigued to see, first of all, the setup, the way it plays. I mean, whether Scotland do play as a 4-4-2 or it's a little bit more adaptable than that. Interested to see the pace that Scotland start at as well. I mean, the real temptation when Scotland are at their best, they're on the front foot and they're pushing teams. And in the first game against Haiti in the World Cup, they're going to have to do that, because that's where Scotland will get, hopefully, the 3 points that they will need, and obviously 1 or 2 goals as well. So do you try the same today and try it at a high pace? That's easy to say, hard to do in these conditions.
Yeah, I can only imagine. The Scotland bench with Stephen Naismith and Alan Irvine alongside Steve Clarke, the goalkeeping coach, Chris Woods. The officials look like they are just about ready to get us underway in this final contest before the real thing gets underway in a week's time. Not too far from where today's match is being played, just up the road, just outside of Boston, in Foxborough, is where Scotland will take on Haiti, as Angus Gunn, the Scotland goalkeeper, clad all in yellow, just straps the gloves on, and he'll be hoping for a relatively quiet afternoon. Hasn't played a whole lot of football of late, Angus Gunn, just the one appearance for Nottingham Forest in the entire season. Did start against Japan in a recent friendly, and I think a number of people expecting him to be Steve Clarke's number 1, certainly wearing the number 1 jersey. It will be Scotland to kick us off then, and we are underway in the close to 30-degree heat in New Jersey, as Jack Hendry just rolls it back to Angus Gunn. Hendry looks like he's playing on the left-hand side of that central defensive pair, and Gunn launches it long, and it'll be picked up in the midfield by Christie. Hickey, who had a little bit of a rusty game, you would have to say, against Curaçao, looking to just get a bit more match fitness, I guess. One of the number of players, Pat, you were talking about a number of players who haven't had full seasons, if you like, and in many ways that could work for Scotland, but guys like Aaron Hickey, you feel, still need a bit more minutes in their legs.
And you would add Gannon Doak to that as well. Probably needs a little bit more, but no complaints. They should be sharp enough at the start of the game.
Here's Shea Adams at the edge of the penalty area in the early stages. Can't link with a teammate though, and it's not clear. There was Hendry picking up possession, but it's been lost, and Bolivia will try and make their way forward for the first time in the game. It's Miguelito of Santos, who I mentioned earlier as perhaps one of their most dangerous players. Bolivia looking to get the shot away, but it's charged down at the edge of the box. Scotland looking to pick up possession again. It's back with Roberto Fernandez, the left back for Bolivia. Comes forward and out of play for a Bolivia throw-in, left-hand side, well inside the Scotland territory. Minute and a half played, no goals between Bolivia and Scotland. Bolivia just missing out on World Cup qualification, finishing 7th in their group. Of course, that encompasses the entire South African continent.
South American.
Pretty much South American continent, yeah. And they had to play the play-off against Iraq in the end and lost out. Here is Adams, supported here by Andy Robertson. Midway inside the Bolivia half, tries to play it forward, but cut out at the edge of the penalty. Robertson looking to keep the pressure on and win the ball back high up the field, but he's put too much pressure on for the referee's liking and conceded the free kick just outside the Bolivia penalty area. 2 minutes in, Bolivia 0, Scotland 0.
It was interesting what Stevie Clarke was saying before the game about the actual surface. Now, it does look from a distance very, very good indeed, but he says the grass is a bit longer. There have been 1 or 2 misplaced passes there from Robertson in particular there, but earlier on, just a few minutes, about a minute from the start of the game, Gannon Doak went to run with the ball, went past the defender, but it took a wee while for the ball to catch up with them, so they will have to get used to these conditions, the Scotland and the Bolivian players.
It's Bolivia in possession at the back. Their captain, Luis Haquin, plays his football in Saudi Arabia. just knocks it out to the right-hand side to Rocha. Both fullbacks actually play in Russia. Here's Rocha, one of them. Back in field it goes, and now Efrain Morales, the left centre-back for Bolivia, just plays that beyond Gannon Doak, gets it to Fernandez. Fernandez swings it in from the left-hand side, all the way over the penalty area. And out of play for a Scotland throw-in, deep in their own territory, left-hand side.
Certainly worth underlining that Scotland have actually set up what does look like that 4-4-2. You know, they've not done anything special or different or imaginative with kind of half positions at the moment. We shall see if that changes.
Christie, and then Robertson just trying to poke it forward, out for another throw-in to Scotland, still only about 20 yards away from their own corner flag. Looks like a very pleasant day if you're not playing football out in New Jersey, as Gannon Doak and Fernandez both challenge for a high ball. Comes off Fernandez and out for a Scotland throw in this one, about 10 yards inside Bolivia territory, taken quickly by Hickey into McTominay. Back to Hendry and on to Lewis Ferguson there. Back with Grant Hanley, Hibs defender, into the feet of McTominay, who gets turned on the halfway line and plays it out to the left-hand side to Robertson, who will come forward and then play it into the feet of Christie. Takes a decent touch, slips it for Robertson at the byline, stands it up into the middle of the area, and it's a goal! Scotland have got the opener through Lawrence Shankland, beautifully created by the Scots down that left flank. Christie and Robertson combining to brilliant effect, and he stands it up, and Lawrence Shankland picks up when he left off against Curaçao at Hampden, climbing at the back post to nod past the goalkeeper as he takes the congratulations of Grant Hanley and the rest of his teammates.
Great understanding.
Bolivia 0, Scotland 1.
It's a great understanding that left-hand side, isn't there, between Christie and Robertson. Robertson always wants to get overlapping there. He gets to the byline there, and as you say, he clips it up. Shankland, meat and drink for him. He's had a great goal-scoring season this season. He scored the 2 goals against Curaçao. Let's not forget, he scored 1 against Denmark as well. So if you're a centre-forward, one of the 2 centre-forwards, what you want more than anything else is to have a quick start and a goal. Dream scenario for Lawrence Shankland.
Yeah, quite right. 4 goals in his last 3 games. Pat, as you rightly point out, having missed the 2 March friendlies, Bolivia looking to respond quickly up the other end of the park. No way through for them. Gannon Doak back helping with the defence, and now he'll look to try and spring the counter-attack. Gannon Doak using his pace, and this time the ball is keeping up with him. He's made it great ground here, finds Shea Adams at the edge of the area, takes a touch back inside, and he goes for goal, spilled by the goalkeeper. And Bolivia should be able to tidy up and come forward themselves there, but Scotland looking really threatening there on the counter and leading by a goal to 0.
It was interesting there, Gannon Doak got the ball there and pins his ear back and flies, and Paniagua, he was chasing him and he just chucked it. He just thought, no, I can't catch him. I'm not even going to try, and stopped. So again, very, very good for Gannon Doak. One of the good things for Ben Gannon Doak, he had a great introduction to Scotland when he started playing, and then maybe faded a little bit after a couple of injuries. Well, the fact that he's got a little bit of pressure from another winger behind him, maybe having a positive effect.
Yeah, I know a lot of people would like to see them both on the field to play at the same time. Finlay Curtis made such a great impact off the bench against Curaçao, getting on the score sheet for the first time. And Scotland pick up possession midway inside their own half. It's Shea Adams infield. It goes to Shankland. Now picked up by Hickey. Right hand side is Gannon Doak, still about 15 yards inside his own half. Square ball for McTominay. He clips out to that left hand side for Christie and Robertson, and yeah, the understanding was quite clear there in the creation of that opening goal as Scotland get the free kick for a foul there on Robertson. 7.5 in, Bolivia 0, Scotland 1.
It's just been so important to Scotland over the years, hasn't he, Robertson? I mean, the number of counts, it's 94, isn't it now?
94
you mentioned
now,
before.
8 short of King Kenny.
And he doesn't look any different. You know, the way he's playing, he's flying to that byline. He loves playing for his country, he loves being a leader. But he's nominally a left back, but he's got into the most dangerous position of any Scotland player so far.
There's Shankland linking the play out to the right hand side. It goes for Gannon Doak, about 15 yards from the byline. Little step over, buys him half a yard, then he sends it to the back post just beyond a couple of Scotland players. Robertson arrives though at the back post on the left hand side, rolls it back the way, and it's Christie taking over, back out to Robertson on the touchline, back with Christie once more, and he'll just slow things down, come back to Jack Hendry on the halfway line. I think about a third of the pitch on this near side, the Scotland right, is in shadow, and I think most players will be wanting to spend as much time as possible in that area. Here's McTominay, Scotland looking to create once more as Christie gets a 1-2 there. Tries the shot there, he didn't really catch it, and an easy take for the goalkeeper on that occasion, Guillermo Vizcarra. And he's already been beaten though by Lawrence Shankland early in this game. 9 minutes played, and the Scots lead by a 1-0. And as much as the result, Pat, is maybe third in Steve Clarke's priority list, it would be very welcome a victory, wouldn't it?
Well, if we win, it's not third, it's going to be first in my mind anyway. But what was really stuck out, a number of things. Ben Gannon Doak got to the byline again there, put an absolutely beautiful cross in, and I was just waiting for Scott McTominay, because that's his area. And of course he's playing a little bit deeper, so he wasn't up there. Gannon
Doak working back, looked to have won that cleanly, but the referee doesn't agree. Says he fouled Fernandez, who's stayed down. Gannon Doak's not happy, but the free kick is awarded to Bolivia. Gannon Doak feels Fernandez bought that somewhat.
I think he did step in the back of his ankle there, but he was so badly injured that he remembered to roll back onto the pitch. So I think he'll be okay. I think he'll survive.
It's a free kick in a decent position, this though, left hand side, about 20 yards from the byline, to be taken by Miguelito.
Keep an eye on Morales, by the way. He's a very, very tall player coming up from the back.
Be the left foot here of Miguelito, plays on the right hand side, cutting in usually, but he's across on the left hand side to deliver this free kick as Scotland look to defend their 1-goal advantage. It's a poor free kick though, can't beat the first man, and it's swept away by the Scots defence just beyond the 10-minute mark. Scotland leading by Lawrence Shankland's early 0-0. You're listening to our coverage of the final Scotland warm-up match on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland and 5 Live Sports Extra, as Morales picks up at the back for Bolivia, looking to get themselves back on level terms sooner rather than later. It's Miguelito coming in off the right hand side. Fernandez, who's kind of playing that inverted full-back role quite often. Here he is once more in an advanced area. Fernandez on for Miguelito, who's just stayed over on this left-hand side for the moment, up against Gannon Doak, and he's danced away from him, almost to the byline here. Miguelito, can he get the cross in? Good defending from Hickey to thwart the cross, but at the expense of a corner. 11 in, Bolivia 0, Scotland 1.
Pretty old school stuff from Miguelito there. Gets the ball a couple of times, tries to get to the byline. Well defended in the end by Scotland. It's quite an open game, isn't it? And it's actually been paid. I was asking beforehand, can Scotland play at a good pace? Yes, it has. It's not felt like a training game. It's felt like a really good and competitive start.
Here's Paniagua taking the corner kick short. Comes back the way to Robson Tomey, and then back out to Miguelito, who will swing it in left-footed. Again, it's cut out at the near post, though. That's a couple of deliveries from him that haven't been up to scratch, but Scotland have got everyone back, and when the ball's hoisted forward, there's nowhere there beyond the Bolivia defence to collect it. So here they come once more. It's Robson Tomey playing it into the edge of the penalty area. Hendry's done well and just squeezes it out to the left to Christie, midway inside his own half, into McTominay, who'll get it back to Christie on the left-hand side. Now he plays it down the left channel, but that's asking too much of McTominay. Even in perfect conditions, that would have been a big ask, but in the heat like they're playing in today, McTominay wasn't going to burst the gut to try and get there, and it's all the way through to the goalkeeper.
It was quite intriguing there. When Scotland were defending there, the formation was 9-1. There was 9 players right along the edge of the box, and one just about 10-15 yards in front of them. So when Scotland do that, they're very hard to break through, and obviously they'll need to do it various times in the World Cup, that situation. But you can't break that well from those positions, you know, certainly in this sort of heat. So it's about, as I mentioned before, managing these games when you find yourself in those positions.
Here's Robson Tomey. Bolivia enjoying plenty of the ball at this stage. Vaca and then plays it on to Miguelito, out to the right-hand side to Rocha, and then back to Morales on the halfway line. Scotland don't want to be spending too much out of possession here, because that can be pretty energy sapping at the best of times. Chasing the ball down as Morales brings it forward on the left, tries to slip it out further to his left. Garen Doak got a challenge in, it came back off the arm of Morales, and the referee spots that and gives Scotland a free kick midway inside their own half. 13 and a half played, Scotland leading by a 1-0.
I suggest one of the phrases you might not use today from Scotland is that high press. You know, when you lose the ball, they're just falling into a shape, making sure they're, you know, very, very compact, very, very hard to play through. And then when they get the ball, they can slowly but surely build it through the kind of quarters of the pitch. And you can see they're pretty well drilled in this.
Yeah, I mean, you might hope that playing in the north of the USA that temperatures might be a little bit kinder, but looking at the forecast for the next 10 days or so up in Boston, it looks like it's going to be sort of high 20s. So it's going to be challenging, a little bit like it is today, and then even more so, you would imagine, when they get down to Miami. But of course, they've just had the week there with the training camp to try and get themselves acclimatised to that as best they can. As Tom was pointing out, though, pre-match, Bolivia used to playing at extraordinary heights, over 4,000 metres, their home ground. And so, although today's not being played at altitude, they're certainly used to challenging conditions more than the Scots. Almost a quarter of an hour on the clock, Scotland leading by a 1-0. Lawrence Shankland on the score sheet once again after just 5 minutes this time, as the Scots have it. And it's a poor touch though by Robertson. He gets lucky because he was challenged and the ball's gone out for a Scotland throw, and more or less on the halfway line. It's thrown into the midfield, and Scotland getting a free kick there. I think it was Christie who has been pulled back in the end, and that allows the likes of Hanley and Hendry perhaps to make their way forward and get on the end of a free kick here, Pat.
We're very intrigued to see what Scotland do from their set pieces. It's a decent area here. Robertson with his left foot can curl it into an area where Scotland can attack. It's one of those ones in a game like this, do you want to give too much away? Certainly stuff that you've worked on, you don't want to. Wait a moment, another chance.
Down the left-hand side, Christie swings it in, but it was Hanley there at the back post, couldn't quite return it across the face of goal, and just gets a touch to knock it behind for a goal kick. But yeah, it's a fair point, but you don't want to be giving away too many secrets.
Yeah, I mean, you give limited amounts away, teams will know how big and physical you are. But if you've got something very intricate that you're going to work on from a corner, and it changes team to team that you're playing against. And so far, Scotland haven't had a corner.
1-0 the lead though, as Hanley just chases that back towards his own goal, rolls it back to Angus Gunn. No particular test for him thus far. Allows Miguelito to come on to him before playing it out to Hendry, and then on to Robertson on the left-hand side. He plays it forward on that left flank as Scotland look to try and build once more, and they've been given another free kick as Shea Adams came back there to just try and hold it up and just get a
That's a new rule.
Back.
That's a new rule. Absolutely the way it's going to be done. A number of new rules for this World Cup coming on. The referees have obviously been told about it. They have to be incredibly stringent in any tackles from the back, and FIFA have been very strong about it. The referees have been very strong about it. So if you're a player that holds the ball up, such as Shea Adams, just hold it. You'll probably get a free kick.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that one goes. I think there's a feeling that there's already sort of minimal contact allowed, but defenders are going to have to be even more patient with those kind of challenges. And Steve Clark stands in his technical area, just trying to get a few instructions on, down to the short sleeves this afternoon. Christie's going to cut out a cross-field ball there, but he couldn't bring it under control and just knocks it out for a throw-in over on that far side. And it will be a throw to Bolivia, taken by Rocha. Gets it back and then clips it forward. Miguelito tries to head it on, but only finds McTominay, and now it's back with Hanley just inside his own half. Short ball to Hendry, little triangle there with McTominay, who gets it back from Hanley, lets it run beyond them. Lovely little touch to take him away from the first man, and gets it out to the left-hand side to Christie. He's got Robertson on the overlap once more, tries to get the first time ball in, but it comes off Roshan out for a throw-in. Again, Scotland looking promising down that left flank.
It's intriguing to watch the way Scotland are playing just now, because when Billy Gilmore plays, he's the one who's the core, he's the centre of it. They play through midfield and he holds the ball. It's actually Scott McTominay's doing that just now, isn't it? As much as he possibly can, try to pick it up in the pocket there, drag players towards him, and quite often feed it out to the left-hand side, however, now in the right.
Yeah, and it's Ben Gannon-Doak picking up. Has a little trick, then he comes back the way to Ferguson. Ferguson back to the halfway line to Hanley, on to Hendry. And now Robertson, he has to go back the way to Hendry. As Bolivia just try and push the Scots back a little bit. Hendry back into McTominay, who's doing exactly what Pat just described. It's flicked on for Christie, won't quite catch that one as Adams just tried to knock it into his path, but Bolivia clear out for a throw-in over on the far side. The Scotland left almost at the 19-minute mark. Bolivia 0, Scotland 1.
This shows you the adaptability of Scott McTominay. You know, he does play as a second striker a lot of time, out of the 10, coming late and scoring goals from that angle. But hey, he's played centre back for Scotland. Exactly. He's played centre midfield. He's played just about everywhere.
Robertson's throw-in just bounces over Shankland, and no other Scotland player gambling in there as Bolivia get it clear. Back in towards their penalty area. Cleared once more. Ferguson returns it again. Nodded down by Christie. It's laid off here to the edge of the box. Adams goes for goal, and he wasn't far away as Shankland just nudged it into his path, and he aimed for the bottom corner, and as the keeper went down, he was relieved to see it fly beyond his right hand post, and it remains Bolivia 0, Scotland 1.
It's very good to see those two working together. When you've got two strikers, it's not actually that common a thing anymore. You know, in the modern game you often get one striker and you've got three behind them or whatever, but they are playing as a duo up there. And when you play as a duo, it's imperative that you understand each other. Now, Adams is a very, very selfless player, and he will always try and play others in, but Shankland's intelligent, and he can play one off him. And that time, good understanding, and it was just shaved the post.
Yeah, not far away at all from a second Scotland goal. We've played 20 minutes now in the heat of Harrison, New Jersey, and Lawrence Shankland's goal still separates the side on his 20th cap, his 7th Scotland goal. As Gunn plays out to his right hand side to Grant Hanley, as the guys were talking about pre-match. It's a little bit of an unknown, a little bit of a dilemma still perhaps for Steve Clarke as to who exactly is going to be the central defensive pairing. Robertson in possession for sure is going to be the first choice left back, as he goes back the way to Ferguson, who then goes all the way back to Angus Gunn just outside his penalty area.
It was interesting to watch the Bolivians trying to do, closing down high up the pitch there. It was absolutely hopeless. The way Scotland got through, it was so simple for them to get through it. I think Scotland would be delighted if Haiti did that against them in a few days' time.
Hanley goes long. It's going to be picked up here by Adams, about 25 from goal. Now it's Gannon-Doak, right hand side of the penalty area, dances onto the left foot, tries to go for goal. It comes off Shankland actually inadvertently, and the move breaks down as Bolivia try and come forward. But Scotland are getting themselves into some good, promising positions. We've got one goal already and threatening another.
When you think about it, there's not really been a shot in Gunn. I don't think so. Angus Gunn, I don't think he's had to make a save of any type, but certainly Scotland are having shots. A couple of them have been blocked, in this case by their own player, but it shows the positivity. They've won it again.
Yeah, they've won it in the midfield and can come forward now. Gannon-Doak will race out to this right hand side to ensure that stays in, and he gathers it and makes his way towards the penalty area on this right hand side. He's got support coming from Hickey, uses him as a decoy, finds room for the cross. It's a deep one to the back post, headed away by Rocha. It'll be picked up here by Robertson, comes back the way and gets almost get the 1-2, but it's actually come to Christie. Shankland lays it off to the edge of the box, and in comes the shot, and Scotland have a second. Fine strike from the edge of the penalty area, about 20 yards from goal. Vizcarra went down to his right hand side, but he couldn't keep it out, and Scotland midway through this first period open up a 2-goal gap. Looked like Aaron Hickey who struck it from the edge of the box.
You can see Scott McTominay coming in there as well from that sort of area, so he's putting all sorts of pressure on there, and it is McTominay.
It is McTominay.
He smashes it in that bottom corner there. Keeper doesn't cover himself in glory there, but just what we were saying before, 2 or 3 really good shots had been blocked beforehand, and this one just bounces in front of the goalkeeper, and well, Scotland can take a well-earned rest now because they're having a water break. 2-0 up, dream scenario.
Yeah, the water break, which is going to be much needed, you'd imagine, over the course of the World Cup, coming in midway through each half, and well, what a terrific time to get a second goal, and that will allow Steve Clark and his coaching staff to get a few messages on during this hiatus. But it's certainly been a good opening quarter for the Scots, Pat Raymond.
Good. I'll give you a bit more than that. No, I think it's been excellent. They've controlled a lot of the play. Now and again, you know, Bolivians they're no absolute mugs, so they'll hold the ball now and again. But what Scotland has done, have completely destroyed any chances they've had to attack, because they've got back in a really tight shape. Everyone's got back there. When they win a ball again, they then play it out really calmly, are really comfortable in the ball. Now that helps if you scored early, which Scotland did through Lawrence Shankland at that back post there. So there's a comfort about Scotland's play. There's a real belief about their play now, and they don't need to push it. They can take it easy, and to get that second goal, what a difference that made. And the amount of times that Scotland have got to the byline in this game has been absolutely fantastic to see. Certainly that first goal from Lawrence Shankland. I mean, that's a tough shot. We're seeing a little replay in the monitors here. That's a tough header. He makes it look easy. He makes it look very easy. The reason being, he's a natural goal scorer, and I would argue that Lawrence Shankland is the most natural goal scorer that Scotland's got. And he's showing it now. And McTominay, well, I think he'd like to play against that goalkeeper every week.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't right in the bottom corner. Vizcarra's got to feel that he should have done better, but Shankland involved in that goal as well. You mentioned it earlier. He can see passes, he knows where his teammates are, and he lays it perfectly into the path of McTominay.
For those who haven't seen Lawrence Shankland a huge amount, he's a natural goal scorer. He'll play as a 9, but he'll also play one behind, and just as comfortable. And when you talk about that in international football, the easiest comparison is Harry Kane. Now, he's not Harry Kane, he's not scoring, he's not, I would argue Harry Kane could shout for being the best goal scorer in the world at the moment alongside Haaland. However, he does those two positions brilliantly well, and he does them selflessly. So Shankland, it's taken him a long time to really break into this Scotland squad, but he's there now, and he's making a big having a big effect in this game so far.
It's inconceivable that he doesn't start against Haiti, isn't it?
Well, I've got written it down for my starting 11 already, I can tell you that for sure. When you need goals, you need goal scorers, and although McTominay again scored here, and he's been our talisman for a good period of time now, he almost took over from McGinn, who's the one that Scotland were relying on so much. But if you've got a striker, of one of the strikers who's a natural, when the half chance falls, he's likely to take it. You've got to squeeze him in there.
Well, we're back underway, 26 minutes now on the clock after that water break, just after the McTominay goal. And as Pat is alluding to there, he has popped up with a number of goals, and that is his 15th on his 70th cap for his country. And it wasn't perhaps his sweetest strike, but got the better of the goalkeeper away down to his right, and gives Scotland a 2-goal advantage. And they're playing some good stuff out there, some good build-up play, and the Bolivians looking to try and respond here. Fernandez at left back, going back the way though to Morales. Plays it square to his central defensive partner, Captain Hakeem. Back with Morales again. Plays his football in Montreal. Ball played back to Gunn in the Scotland goal, who hasn't really been called into action as yet. Clips it forwards, on by Christie. Adams can't get there. Bolivia pick up on the right hand side, looking to make some headway. There's a foul there by Christie, and it will be a Bolivia free kick on that right hand side, quickly taken as they look to get a goal back in this first period. 2-0 the Scots lead. Back to Morales, just in the edge of the centre circle inside the Scots half. To his left is Fernandez, faced up by Gannon Doak, comes away in field into a central area and then clips out to the right hand side. Bolivia looking to threaten the Scots back line here. as you were saying earlier though, Pat, Scotland getting back in good numbers, very organised back there for the moment at least, as Bolivia look to find a yard to get a shot away. They do get a shot away in the end, and Gunn goes down to his left and keeps it out as Matthias tried his luck from a good 25 yards, and a comfortable but decent save from Angus Gunn.
And I think one that Angus Gunn will be delighted to have had. You know, if you're not involved in the game a great deal, as a keeper, just a save like that, but you should save. But you take it clean, you don't palm it off anyway, you don't have a half a chance given to the opposition, you do all the right things there, and yeah, he'd be delighted about that. But that's the first real effort on goal. Was it a chance? I'd give it a quarter chance, not even a half chance.
Bolivia pick up once more, trailing by 2-0 in this first period. Gannon Doak gets the challenge in on the near side, the Scots right, and out for a throw into the South Americans. They had hoped to qualify for the first time for the World Cup since the last time it was held in the States back in '94. But alas, it wasn't to be after they went down 2-1 to Iraq, having won the semi-final of the Inter-Confederation playoff against Suriname. Scotland having to do a bit of defending there as Hickey manages to get it back to Angus Gunn, who thumps it forward over the halfway line. Picked up again by the Bolivians. They need the next goal in this game, you feel, to make it into a real contest. McTominay has possession, finds Hickey, who's threaded a lovely ball through here for Gannon Doak. Squares it, must be for Scotland, it's number 3. And it's Shea Adams who's on the score sheet now. It's another wonderfully worked goal by the Scots. Hickey and Gannon Doak, the architects, and Adams finishes it off. The Scots once again come together in congratulations to the goal scorer, but also those who made it. It is Bolivia 0, Scotland 3.
Again, every plan that Stephen Clarke's put in has worked a treat. And if you're one of the strikers, Adams is getting it now, but Shanklin got it before. What you want are crosses in the box, and he set up the team. Be it the wingers, particularly on the right hand side, Gannon Doak, left hand side, Robertson flying forward there. Just get the ball in the box. The amount of good crosses that Scotland have got in the box, well, that wasn't a cross, that was a pass. Passed it straight into him, and Adams was walking away, trying to be quite calm about it, but he will be completely delighted with that one, because he's played well so far, he's linked up well with his striker, and both of them have scored. Perfect scenario for Stevie Clarke and for Scotland.
Well, it's superb stuff from Scotland, half an hour in, and it's a dream scoreline. 3-0 up, and as Pat said, both strikers on the score sheet in addition to Scott McTominay, and it's been really pleasing on the eye, some of the Scotland build-up play, and the hope has to be that they can replicate this in a week's time against Haiti, who lost out to Peru earlier in the day 2-1 in their final friendly before next week's big kick-off. But having watched the highlights of that, they were a little bit unfortunate. It wasn't really until after the hour mark and after they'd made loads of changes that they allowed Peru back into the game, having led early on. So still feel like they will be a big threat to the Scots, more than the Bolivians are proving at the moment, as they've given the ball away and allowed Ryan Christie to come over the halfway line, charging forward, coming down the right hand side, making really good yards into the penalty area. He comes, going to get the shot away, he can, but it's straight at the goalkeeper, and Scotland denied a fourth goal. But terrific driving run, great energy from Christie, but denied another goal.
Yeah, he'll feel as if he deserves to have a shot there, since he's taken the ball such a long way. I immediately looked at the two players that were up with him, Adams, and thought, what sort of reaction are you going to get? Because as a striker, you're thinking, well, wait a minute, you've got to pass it there, you've got to try and find me there, you must be exhausted after that run. But it shows you something about the spirit of the squad. Nothing. Real, positivity. Yeah, good effort, well done, work hard, let's get back into our shape again. So Christie was allowed that shot.
3-0 the Scots leads. You're listening to Scotland's final friendly match ahead of the World Cup live with us here on BBC Radio Scotland and 5 Live Sports Extra. And of course we'll bring you all the Scotland games right across the BBC on TV, radio and all our digital platforms over the coming weeks. You won't miss a thing right here on the BBC as Scotland look to keep Bolivia out here as they come forward down the left-hand side, looking to find a yard or two. It's Tommy who had that shot a moment ago, out to the left-hand side to Fernandez, comes off Hickey and behind for a Bolivia corner.
Again, everyone back, right positions. Hickey gets his body in the way. Interesting about Hickey, he's playing within himself just now. And I was going to say, I always like to see him overlapping. Good luck trying to overlap Ben Gannon-Doak when he's going at full pace. You have absolutely no chance because he's lightning quick. So the fullback's done well so far.
Here's Tommy, short corner taken to the back post. It's nodded down, but flag has gone up over on the far side. And Scotland get the free kick inside their own penalty area. 11 minutes until the interval. Scotland leading by 3-0. It's not often you can say that. And Ribera, the Bolivian striker, he's barely had a sniff at goal on his debut for his country. I think he was a player who was flagged offside there.
Yeah. I mean, you just look at the number of players that Scotland have the box when that cross comes in there. They're really well drilled. It must be infuriating to play against, but I'm working up to a sentence where I can use my least favourite word in the English language. On transition, Scotland have been absolutely brilliant. They've been fantastic. Each time they've won the ball, they've held it well, they've moved it quite quickly when they had to, they've found out where the space is there, and they've looked very, very dangerous.
He used it perfectly though, Pat, so I think.
That's me, I've used it once, can't use it again.
That's McTominay back to Hanley. Clip forward, but Ben Gannon-Doak was taken out of play well off the ball there, and the assistant referee had a good view of it. And Fernandez comes across, offers his apology, helps him to his feet. It will be a Scotland free kick. This is exactly the type of performance, you know, in terms of the positivity and the creativity part, that the Scotland fans will be desperate to see against Haiti, isn't it?
Well, oddly enough, against Curacao, we're 35 minutes in, against Curacao up until the 40th minute, it wasn't like this, was it?
No.
You know, it really wasn't like this. Scotland one down, struggling, you know, it was a wee bit worrying. The difference of scoring an early goal, getting the early goal yourself, and the comfort that gives you, the space that gives you, you're allowed to draw teams on when that happens, and it's really helped, and it's that maturity that Scotland have shown just now in this first half. Look, Bolivia might not be the best team in the world, but you still need to beat them, and you still need to show that maturity. There's that little clip from behind. You're not going to get away with that in this World Cup, are you?
Doesn't look like it. McTominay, the beneficiary of that decision from the referee there. Scotland will get the free kick 36 minutes in. Scotland lead by 3-0. Frustrating afternoon out in New Jersey so far for Bolivia. As McTominay plays it forward. Ferguson can't keep a hold of it though. Back it goes to Fernandez. Shankland looking to try and win it back, and he was fouled in the process of doing so, and Scotland get themselves a free kick. The referee says to the Bolivia players, just cool it down a little bit. It was Villamil who was the guilty party on that occasion. So Scotland have a free kick midway inside the Bolivian half, taken short. Out to the right hand side it comes to Gannon-Doak, looking to get the better here of Fernandez. Fernandez has done well on this occasion, he's won it back, still in a tight spot. Gannon-Doak closing him down, plays it off the Scotland winger and buys his side a throw in deep in Bolivia territory.
It's probably the first time he's not got by him in this game. Every time he's got the ball, I think the old phrase, the commentator's phrase, he's got him on toast at the moment, Fernandez. Fernandez has to, I think he's been booked as well. It didn't show, the referee didn't make a big thing about it, but I think he's booked Fernandez as well. So he can't take any chances whatsoever against Gannon-Doak, who has gone for pace with his eyes shut.
Scotland have got themselves a throw in midway inside the Bolivia half. Fernandez just running it out of play there. As Hickey now does try to get to the byline, and then he overhits the cross. I'd be kind to him and say that maybe just took a little bobble as he tried to send that into the middle, but he did well in the first instance, Pat, to do exactly what you were talking about, getting forward and into a dangerous area.
Yeah, we know he's capable of that. I know he loves doing it. I've seen him doing it many, many times. And he got to the right area there, and the classic one, when the ball bobbles that high and it flies away up into the air, you have a wee look behind you. It's a terrible pitch, this, which happens to be flat as a pancake. No, he's a bit unlucky there. There's a little bit of an injury to one of the Bolivian players.
Yeah, I wonder if it was Svi Emil, and I think maybe just when he challenged Shankland a moment ago, he was penalised for it, but I think he maybe has come off worst in that scenario, and he might just need to be replaced here. Certainly getting a little bit of treatment, and that'll allow the Scots another breather. You can see Andy Robertson and Scott McTominay and a few others just talking tactics, I think, for the last few minutes, maybe just trying to see it out now to half-time with this comfortable advantage. You don't need to go chasing this by any means.
Well, and also you can make as many changes as you like now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the game's absolutely won, but this doesn't look like a team that's going to take 4 goals off of Scotland, and we've got Willie Miller and Andy Halliday to talk to at half-time. I'm going to try and read their minds at the moment. This lot beat Brazil?
Yeah, well, it's incredible what home advantage can do for you at 4,500 metres, isn't it? But yeah, they did, but ultimately it wasn't good enough to get them into the World Cup. They did clinch a playoff place for them, right enough, but they couldn't take advantage of that. Play about to resume again with the throw-in over on the far side to Bolivia, Bolivian right. Scotland have won it back, and Adams goes in there, and it might fall for Gannon Doak at the edge of the box. He wriggles through, and it's a good save to deny Scotland their 4th goal. Really good effort from Gannon Doak, but on this occasion the keeper was equal to it, because it could so easily have found the back of the net.
That's incredible. I mean, he's very, very unlucky there. That is a phenomenal save. He just threw his arm up to the right-hand side, and he's had a few tricky moments, the goalkeeper, but that was superb.
Here comes Scotland again, and they've won themselves what I think is the first corner of the game over on that left-hand side. Bolivia, well, they don't look like a team who are enjoying their afternoon out there.
Very intrigued now to see what Scotland do from. I don't think it should be anything sophisticated about it, but just showing the prowess of, you know, coming and attacking corner kicks. So looking for a good ball in here.
Last 5 minutes of the 45 will be plenty of added on time as Lewis Ferguson prepares to take from the left-hand side. Near post ball is flicked on, and then at the back post it was Hendry that was.
I thought it was.
It is Andy Robertson. You're right. Good spot, Pat. Who rose at the back post. Maybe if it had been Hendry with the extra couple of inches, he would have reached that. But it was Robertson at the back stick who just couldn't quite get over it to get it on target, and it remains Bolivia 0, Scotland 3.
Very similar to free kick, the corner kick that Scotland took. That was it Shankland scored in against Denmark.
Yeah.
Yeah, near post there, flicked on. That one was a little bit nearer post there, but maybe Robertson came in too early there. There was no need to come in early. So if you're at the back post and you're the last player, give yourself time to go and attack it. If you go in too early, you can't really go backwards. But again, another very good chance for Scotland.
Yeah, they could have had 4 or 5 quite comfortably. Talking of Andy Robertson, just sealed a move to Spurs, which will go through at the turn of the month. Goodbye for Spurs, you would say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, I've been down to Liverpool quite a few times this season and seen Andy playing, and I'm thinking, why? You've not lost a lot. Maybe he doesn't get as forward as much as before, but that was partly because Liverpool changed their shape a little bit. I didn't think Andy Robertson was doing anything negative.
Here's Bolivia trying to do something positive on the left-hand side. Fernandez through a couple of challenges, might have been fouled, but play continues, and then the shot's dragged well wide. The referee has pulled this back for a free kick. Now, that is taking the advantage rule to the extremes there, because the shot was taken, and just because he didn't get it on target, I think the referee's been extremely generous to Bolivia on that occasion, albeit it probably was a foul in the first instance.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. You know, the play has finished. You give the advantage, you take the shot, it goes past, and you say, well, go and have a free kick instead. I mean, the referee might argue morally there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't think that's what it was supposed to be for. I don't think it was anything nasty in the tackle there. It has probably caught him slightly, but 2.5 minutes to go before half time. We shall see if, again, I actually think Hickey gets the ball nice and clean there, but because his foot's planted, his ankle's gone over a little bit. I think Hickey gets the ball there. You need to be able to make tackles.
Yeah, I think the referee has done Bolivia a real favour here. Because it's a friendly, I don't think anyone's going to be losing any sleep over it, even if it results in a goal. But Scotland certainly don't want that to happen as they face up to this free kick left-hand side, a couple of yards outside the penalty area, and about 8 or 9 maybe back from the byline. 2 minutes left in the 45 plus added on time. It's going to be Robson Tommy, although he's got Mateus on the back of his shirt just to confuse the commentators. Takes it left-footed, cuts it back to the edge of the box, shot comes in, it's not a clean one and it's cleared, and Gannon Doak will try and gather, and he just batters it upfield. No Scotland player can latch on to that, and Bolivia will pick up once more, but they do keep the clean sheet thus far, and they lead by 3-0 in what has been a terrific first period for Steve Clarke's side. Despite the sweltering conditions out there, and just a few minutes left to play, including added on time, of which there'll be, I would guess, 4 or 5. There's been a couple of stoppages in addition to the water break, as Bolivia try and build something here. At the back they have it through Morales. Now out to the right hand side. Scotland again in a well organised shape, 2 banks of 4, and Bolivia forced back the way. Out to the left-hand side now they come with Fernandez, who's been allowed to get forward a lot from full-back. Challenge came in there from Hanley, does enough to force it to Hickey, and now Gannon Doak on the half-turn starts bombing forward once more. What great pace he's showing, and can he slip a teammate in here? It's Shea Adams to the left-hand side, just takes a heavy touch, might still get the shot away. What a goal that is to make it 4-0 Scotland. Shea Adams got a second bite of the cherry just when it looked like he'd lost it inside the penalty area, and he took it superbly, battering it beyond the goalkeeper. And just on the stroke of the 45-minute mark, it is Bolivia 0, Scotland 4.
Well, first and foremost, you've got to hand it to the winger. Absolutely brilliant by Ben Gannon Doak. He just leaves 3 players for completely dead in that midfield there. He actually takes too long to play the pass in the end. He should have played the pass maybe a second or 2 earlier. He gets it through, and by that time it's slightly late, and Adams finds himself having to make a tackle. However, he makes the tackle, and then the sick ball breaks to him, and he doesn't have a second thought, and he smashes it by the goalkeeper. Well, you mentioned yourself, it could have been 4 or 5. It could have been 6 or 7 in this first half. It's been a really good break from Scotland, the first half of Scotland. And by the way, add on top of that, once again, they win the ball deep, and each time they've broken from that area, they've made some really good decisions.
Shea Adams with a double, Scotland with 4 in the first half, and I must admit it's not a statistic I looked up to check when the last time they were leading by 4-0 was. What I will say is that their friendly record of late has been pretty dreadful. Their only wins really in friendly matches coming against Real Minnows, Gibraltar, Luxembourg and Liechtenstein, other than Curacao there last weekend. But they're about to add Bolivia to that list, and what a first half it has been from Scotland, and they're looking for more. 3 minutes added on at the end of this first period, and we've played half of that already, as Gannon Doak picks up, tries to just thread a pass, and it's cut out, but Scotland are working hard to win it back, but Shankland's been penalised for his challenge, and Bolivia will get the free kick. But they look pretty demoralised out there, Pat.
Well, you would do. 4-0 down the first half, but they haven't been particularly good in the ball. They've been easy to nick the ball off, far too easy for an international side. And Scotland have been sharp. They've known when to go and, pick their pockets, and they've picked the pockets so often in that midfield. And the sharpness of, even the Ben Gannon Doak in particular, each time he manages to get a little tackle in. As I say just now, Ferguson's just done it again and win the ball in that midfield with consummate ease. It's just too easy for Scotland to win it in those situations.
I imagine there might be some changes at half-time, certainly relatively early in the second half, as Steve Clarke tries to get some minutes out most of his squad in this one, try and give everyone an opportunity with the game as good as won by half-time.
How many changes can you make at one time in this game? That's what I want to know, because if you're Stevie Clark, the temptation would have to make one or two at half-time had it been a single goal lead or drawing. Right now, you can do whatever you like.
Yeah, well, he did say that the result wasn't the highest of his priorities, but looks like he's going to get it. But what he has got in this first period, anyway, has been a terrific performance.
Yeah, very good indeed. Scotland, I think the last thing they'll have to do is face this corner kick. And now it becomes that pride of your defence, and as not just defence, but the entire unit, not to give a go away and try and get a clean sheet as well.
Yeah, it's Miguelito over on the right-hand side. We've gone beyond the 3 minutes of added on time at the end of this first period as a left-footed Bolivian swings that into the middle of the 6-yard box. No one can get on the end of it, and it's going to bend all the way behind in the end for a goal kick, which allows the referee to blow the half-time whistle to bring an end to what has been a quite fabulous first half for the Scots. Started in fine fashion as Robertson and Christie linked down the left-hand side before Robertson delivered for Lawrence Shankland to head home at the back post. That was on 5 minutes. Then Scott McTominay at the midway point in that first period got in on the act, cracking it home from about 22 yards. Keeper probably could have done better, but he couldn't keep it out, and that made it 2-0. And then Shea Adams was to add 2 more goals to the Scots tally, the first in the half-hour mark he notched, and then the second on the stroke of half-time, getting the break of the ball after a terrific run by Ben Gannon-Doak, who's been outstanding in the first half, to make the half-time scoreline in New Jersey: Bolivia 0, Scotland 4.
The road to the 2026 World Cup.
Bolivia versus Scotland.
Live on Sports Sound.
On BBC Radio Scotland.
The World Cup lives here.
Historic, heroic, glorious. There are no adjectives to match this moment.
And the saltires and the lion rampants are waves.
A moment 28 years in the making.
In for Shankland, he scored!
There is no greater stage for our icons.
Heroes, each and every one of them.
No bigger prize. The FIFA World Cup. Let's make it iconic.
Glorious! Glorious!
Haiti versus Scotland. Coverage starts next Saturday night at 9 on Sportsound, live from Boston. Listen on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
Yeah, there's no doubt the tension is certainly ramping up. You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland with me, Kenny McIntyre. We're also this evening on 5 Live Sports Extra alongside me in the studio, Willie Miller and Andy Halliday, Pat Nevin and Al Lamont on commentary duty. So, Willie Miller, I don't think we saw this coming.
There's no tension in the studio, is there?
Wow.
That's for sure, after that performance.
Oh, it's amazing.
And I'll start by saying how well they are drilled defensively.
Yeah.
You know, obviously everybody's seen the goals and, you know, that's the exciting part of the game, but defensively they've been brilliant and everybody's done their job and they've worked extremely hard to centre forwards, working back the park before in the midfield, making it a really difficult barrier to get through the midfield, and that just makes your job at the back so easy. And I think they have had it pretty easy, the back four. They haven't really been tested, but a lot of credit goes to the 6 players in front of them. The goals were fabulous. Bolivia are just playing into the hands of Scotland. They're folding back. Bolivia are leaving themselves so wide open to be hit in the counter that it's or on in the transition. Pat maybe want to hear from me. And they've been clinical. You know, I mean, the Shankland goal is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because you see McTominay makes a run in front of him, so he's thinking that this is going to be a flat cross, and Shankland just holds his run. He doesn't actually run. He just kind of maybe he even takes a little step back. Just an instinctive move by a striker that's obviously playing with a lot of confidence. And of course, Shea Adams getting his 2 goals as well. I mean, they've got to play with the two up top, have they not? After that against Haiti, they have got to. I mean, I don't think there's any debate. You know, I mean, they might have little tweaks in the midfield for, but the way they're playing with the back four and the understanding they've got, and the fact that they fall back and make it really difficult for Bolivia, who don't have an awful lot, I must say. I mean, they don't have an awful lot in terms of that would make you worry about them coming at you. But I just think the organisation's been brilliant. They've folded back. They've then occupied the space, and with the pace of Gannon Doak as well. Andy Robertson's been brilliant on the left hand side. I mean, I think what Steve Clark has got to do now is just handle the expectations.
yeah. Don't worry, we'll soon bring him back down there.
Eight goals. Come on, what's going on?
It's crazy, and you know what? It's going to be interesting later on, because when this game's finished, I'll get you guys to pick what you'd like to see as your starting 11 for the Haiti game. I just wonder how different it'll be to the starting 11 in this match tonight. Andy Halliday, what's impressed you in that first half?
Well, just before I get into it, my starting 11 that I wanted to see's changed already after watching that 45 minutes. So that just shows what grabbing the jersey can do for you. Listen, if we're just analysing a game of football and we don't take into consideration the opposition or the type of game that has been a friendly, that's as comfortable a 45 minutes as I've ever seen Scotland. I mean, it was complete control from minute one. Bolivia have had a half chance for the edge of the box. Scotland have had multiple opportunities, could have scored 6 or 7, like Pat said in commentary. And I mean, some of the individuals within it. Scott McTominay, who is someone that has been the talisman for Scotland for such a long period of time. Love to see him at the top end of the pitch, because how creative he is in the final third. He has ran the game in that position. And then I love how fluid the 4-4-2 has actually been. The inside positions that Ryan Christie's picking up, the space. Andy Robertson's occupying that wide area in the left-hand side. And I was saying to myself after sort of 25 minutes, can we see the same on the right-hand side? And then the last 20 minutes, how good Ben Gannon Doak's been on the right-hand side. I know it was interesting, because I'm now looking back at Steve Clark's pre-match comments saying that he wants to see how the two strikers will do against real opposition and not their mates. Well, there's your answer, because for 45 minutes, I mean, the two of them have ran Bolivia ragged. And to be honest with you, I'll give you an early hint. Shea Adams has made my team now. And he wasn't in my team before the game as part of my two strikers up front. So it's been, it's just been so easy, so comfortable for Scotland.
I mean, he's been the subject of much debate on Sports and Shea Adams, what he brings to the national side. And we'll get stuck into that later on, Pat. But what are your overall thoughts on that first half performance? What were the main takeaways for Steve Clark?
Well, first of all, just one line about Shea Adams. I was not one of those naysayers. Never have been. Everything that could go right went right. Every player's playing are around his best just now. And with Scotland, Scotland are capable of doing damage to just about any level of team if they're at their very, very best. 2% off that and with little chance. So the fact that they are there now playing at that sort of level, and so many of the players are playing at their very, very best level just now, it's a joy to see. And you wonder with the opposition, you can't ignore what Ben Gannon Doak's doing, because he's shredding that defence on the left-hand side there. And it's a wee bit easy. It seems actually a wee bit easy for him. I'm sure it will be harder for him against other ones. But I think to myself, do I want to pick out any individual? I sound like a manager now. You don't want to pick out any individual, do you? Because there have been every single one who's worked together. I love the body language. See, when you put Shanklin and Adams together there, really clever players, really understanding. Okay, you could maybe pick holes and say, well, they're not lightning quick. Yeah, there's various things you can say about various players. In actual fact, they work the socks off, as Willie correctly says. First line of defence, the first line of defence is your forwards, and they've done it exactly the way you want. I mentioned about, was it 12 or 13 minutes in, we're playing 9-1 when we lose the ball. Everyone's there. Everyone's doing it. They're well drilled, but your manager's got a good plan out there, and it's worked well today. But see, when you do that and you put a plan out, footballers don't always listen, do they? We've listened tonight, which is great to see.
Some do and some don't. That was my experience over my career. But yeah, I mean, I just think that when you're playing the way Steve Clark's got them set up there, it's obviously the plan. It isn't like they're battering the opposition. They're not hemming the opposition in, which maybe you would expect. They're actually allowing the opposition time to come at them. The two forwards are playing maybe 40 yards, 35, 40 yards out whenever we lose the ball. the back four are not pushing up. In no way are they putting the opposition under any intense pressure. It's not a high line, nowhere near it. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a very low, and it's not even you could call it a low block, but they're not having much to block because the opposition.
But we're nicking it in the midfield so often.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be that low. When we nick it in the midfield, we're away.
It's just so well organised and so much discipline, and it's really encouraging to see that they're all prepared to do what they've been asked to do. The two strikers coming back, the midfield players, albeit all very skillful, but doing their job, sitting in front of back four, making it really easy, I think, for the defensive unit, the back four, and obviously Angus Gunn having put one shot to save in the first half. So for a team performance, and I think we've both touched on it, you don't really want to pick. I don't think you do pick anybody out. I just think it's a brilliant team performance. Within that team, you've got some very outstanding individuals, and Gannon Doak is certainly one of them. I mean, his pace in that type of game, when the opposition are so unorganised at the back and they push so many men forward, there's only one thing going to happen. He's going to run beyond them. He's going to create opportunities.
Don't say yet, Andy, but I've seen you scribbling away there. So when we get your team later, how many changes have you made to the side you picked about an hour ago?
Only one.
Only one.
Only
right.
one.
Okay. We'll get that later.
I'll not get into it just now. I'll save that for later on. But I've made one change. But I mean, we spoke about this at the top of the show when we spoke about Tyler Fletcher and what you can do in a training week. It's the same in a game. If you've got the jersey, it's then yours to keep. So we spoke about that centre half position being the only real question mark for me is who's going to be that centre half pairing going into the game at Haiti. I think John Souttar and Scott McKenna, for me last week, I thought they looked a bit rattled at times in the first half. Any times Curaçao were on the counter attack. Now Jack Hendry and Grant Hanley have got the jerseys tonight. At this moment in time, they've not had a whole lot to do, but what they've done is they've defended extremely well. So, like I says, there's been one particular change because somebody's been given the jersey and really, really impressed. And that's what it's all about.
I think Grant Hanley's good when it's a game like this. See when they're going back, and where is Grant Hanley? I would love to see where his movement has been. I think he's been up the park once. He was in the box once, wasn't he? But I would guarantee you that it's 30 yards. It's been goal line in 30 yards, and he's brilliant at that. That's when he's really good. Where I have a little bit of concern is if it was a high press and it was at the halfway line, and they were hitting us on the counter, then I would be a little bit concerned about that. That's where I think, like Scott McKenna, for instance, and obviously Scott McKenna being left-sided as well, and Henry playing together might be the better one, but you can't take anything away from Grant Hanley. He's as a finger get pointed at a team. all right, okay, next to me.
A few hints, right?
But you can't take anything away from Grant Hanley, and I think Steve Clarke is such a loyal manager that I'd definitely wouldn't be surprised if he played Grant. But my question mark would then be if Scotland are going to be playing a higher line, then it would be Scott McKenna for me. But that's for later on in the night.
I'm really interested to hear that, because we asked you to do that last weekend against Curaçao, Willie, and I know you had some reservations after watching, particularly that defensive performance last Saturday. Pat, what changes are you expected to see from the manager in the second half?
Well, I was wondering about McGinn, who's the most obvious player who will start, who's not started today, the absolute most obvious one. Well, I can see him warming up, so obviously we need to do a lot of warming up. He warmed up quite quickly. This is not good news, I would suspect, for the Bolivians. I was kind of maybe slightly surprised. I'd maybe take Ben Gannon Doak off.
Right.
You've done enough, mate. It's fine. It's okay. Just rest. Do not get injured. You've had a few injuries this season. You know what the quickies are like. The ones at Lightning, like the hamstrings are always possible they could go. It's the end of the season. Look, give him a bit of a rest. Maybe bring Curtis on and give him a chance. And it may well be that he doesn't do that and he brings on McGinn instead. So I expect that as well. But 60 minutes, after 60 minutes, I would expect 5, 6, 7 changes.
How do you feel about that, Pat, in terms of John McGinn coming on at this stage at half time? Because I mean, I don't know if this is just the pessimist in me. I'm just wanting our key players to get through this game unscathed. So being 4-0, I know he's going to be somebody that wants to play as many minutes as he possibly can, but I mean,
but you want to play,
I've got the fear factor in my head of what should come in the second half.
But you want to play. I mean, you want Tierney to come on at some point, because he will be needed at some point, without a doubt. Has Robbo done plenty? Does he need to show us anything, Robbo?
No.
He doesn't.
No.
Really. So we're going to try and find out something else in that sort of position as well. Do you know what the lovely thing is? There's 5, 6, 7, 8 changes that Stevie Clarke could make here, and we'd all shrug our shoulders and say, yeah, that's fine. That's what Scotland have got at the moment. There's a bit of strength and depth where there's no absolute certainty, and there's not that many players that you're going to bring on you're going to say, oh no, he's on, or that's going to really weaken us. We're not like that anymore, which is a really good thing.
You touched on Ben Gannon-Doak there, Pat. Andy, he understandably looked rusty last week, as did Aaron Hickey for me, again understandably. What have you made of Hickey tonight?
I think he's been extremely solid. I think he plays an outstanding pass for the third goal. Ben Gannon-Doak playing on the shoulder, plays a lovely little inside pass. It gets him on the end of things. But Aaron Hickey's someone that I personally absolutely love.
Yeah.
I think he's such a technician. I think he's really good on both sides. I think he's solid defensively. He's just been somebody that's been extremely unlucky with injuries. And I spoke about us as a nation being stronger going into this major tournament than they were in Germany. A lot of that is down to experience, obviously, but we didn't have Aaron Hickey, we didn't have Ben Gannon-Doak the last major tournament, and that partnership on that right hand side for me is so promising. And Aaron Hickey's one that coming into games like this, we know what he can do. I mean, as long as you get minutes under your belt, you're going to be starting the game next week. So for me, given his injury issues, Aaron Hickey's someone that I just want to get through this game unscathed, but for me he's done well.
I can see there will be changes. We'll get back to Al in just a minute with that. He'll give us an update. Steve Clarke certainly made a couple of changes. At least we can see the Tartan Army out there in decent numbers in the heat out there in New Jersey. Like us all, Willie, in the studio tonight, they must be buzzing with that performance. It just whets appetite even more, doesn't it, for next weekend?
Well, we're seeing goals, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, in the last two games. So I think that always excites fans. But I think tonight's been a more rounded performance, been more polished. It looks as though, because against Curaçao, the first half was not good. It was not good. Steve Clarke actually, brought that up in his post-match comments as well. But tonight it's been exceptional. They've defended extremely well. They've folded back. They've hit in the counter, and they're scoring goals. And 4 in the first half, quite extreme for Scotland. There you go, Al. It's quite extreme for Scotland. No doubt he'll have that.
He maybe found that stat by now. Yeah. Well, listen, here we go.
Last time that happened.
Let's get back to Al and Pat then for second half commentary. Our final warm-up match before next weekend's World Cup opener, and my goodness, what a statement performance from Steve Clarke's side. So full second half commentary to come. Bolivia against Scotland with Pat and Al.
Thanks again, Kenny. Certainly Scotland are making a couple of changes. I'll come to them at the moment. I'm more concerned about looking at the Bolivian changes, because that could quite conceivably catch me on the hop. I think they've made a couple as well, with Centeria coming on and one other which I'll bring you up to date with. But certainly McGinn and Tierney are on for Scotland. Unhelpfully, the graphics haven't quite appeared yet to tell us who has gone off, so we'll have to work that out as we go. But Scotland resume 4 goals to the good, with McGinn and Tierney on for this second period. You would imagine that's Robertson that's come off for Kieran Tierney. Certainly Tierney's in that left back position already, so Robertson making way. McGinn's over on the left hand side of midfield, so it could be that Christie, who played in that position in the first half, is the other one to have gone off at half time. We'll just try and keep you up to date with those changes as we go. But Scotland coming forward in the early stages of this second half, looking to add to their already very emphatic advantage. Ben Gannon-Doak still on the field of play, coming in off that right hand side and going back the way, and then Scotland work it out to the left to Kieran Tierney. McGinn looking for it ahead of him, and then back to Hendry. Certainly can't see Ryan Christie on the field, so I'm going to gamble and say that is the other change that's been made.
Can I have a wee guess at the Bolivian changes?
Here comes Scotland first of all, and it's McGinn almost getting in on the act, played in by Tierney, just thwarted there as Bolivia look to try and come forward themselves.
I think that Santella, you're spot on about that. I think he's come on from Panyajua, and Rocha, the right fullback's come off for Makazaga. I think he's come on.
That's Makazaga was the other one I was looking for, and you're absolutely right that he is the other one of the two changes made by the Bolivians. I'm glad they limited it to just the two at half time, otherwise it could have got really messy.
Just wait.
Exactly.
Do you know what is interesting for Scotland? They've brought in McGinn's playing in left midfield, obviously, as you correctly said, for Christie there, and you've got Tierney who's coming in for Robertson. Considering how well Scotland did down that left hand side and taking two top quality players on, they have now got McGinn and Tierney on. That is quality. That is real quality, that Scotland have got that strength and depth.
Yeah.
That they can add that on the left hand side, which looks arguably as dangerous as the players have taken off.
Yeah, tells you a lot about how strong the Scotland squad is these days, when they're able to pretty much replace like with like. And 4-0 they lead in the opening stages of this second half, as Bolivia trying to come forward down the right hand side, but the move breaks down. I'm sure that their coach would have been altogether happy with what he saw. Oscar Villegas, who took over a couple of summers ago. It looks like he's got a bit of a job in his hands to rebuild morale as much as anything else, certainly in this game. Scotland look to build from the back here through Hendry for Tierney, plays it forwards onto the halfway line, mopped up though by captain Hakeem. Scotland pick up once again though, and it's McTominay out to Gannon Doak, right hand side of the penalty area, and he comes, little step over onto the left foot, tries this shot and it's blocked on its way through by Morales, behind for a Scotland corner.
The pace is fantastic, isn't it, Al? Absolutely brilliant. Gets the ball on the right hand side there. Having said that, dream scenario for a winger. Every time he gets the ball is a 1-on-1. I mean, that just generally doesn't happen at the top level. You get the ball wide out there, you've generally got two on you, pushing you inside, make sure they kill the spaces. The amount of times that have been manipulated in Scotland have made it 1-on-1 for Ben Gannon Doak has been superb.
It's going to be McGinn to take this corner kick right hand side. 4 minutes into the second period. Plays it in short to the near post. Little flick on. Doesn't quite come off, but it's still alive for Scotland. Back out to McGinn right hand side. Just trying to find an angle on that left foot of his. Comes all the way across into the centre of the penalty area. Then Tierney, and then helped on once again for McGinn. Now he's on the left side of the box and he takes a shot at goal. Just took a little nick on its way through, and it's going to be another corner, this time left hand side, as it remains Bolivia 0, Scotland 4.
I think John McGinn looks as if he's cruising straight into his best again there. He gets the ball, runs across the box. Consummate ease, consummate belief in his ability there, and he's come on here and he looks fabulous at the moment.
Yeah, it really has hit his stride once again after injury, as Ferguson prepares to take the corner kick left hand side, right footed back post ball, headed behind once again. Another Scotland corner, keeping up the pressure at the start of this second half, looking to add to their already handsome advantage.
With the last corner, not that corner, the one just before it, a few seconds before, they tried one of those tricksy little ones from the training ground. Don't give that away yet. You don't need to do that. Others may be watching.
Referee's seen somebody he doesn't like inside the 6-yard box as McGinn prepares to take the corner over on the far side, the Scotland right. He'll get the go ahead now. What will he plump for on this occasion? Raises the right arm in signal, swings it into the near post, and it's glanced towards goal. Who's it going to break for? Just pokes away as Scotland tried to convert for a 5th time in the game, and almost came off, but just couldn't get the finishing touch there. But they've almost got it back out to McGinn. He just couldn't quite stretch to keep it in. It's a Bolivia throw-in, but oh so close to a 5th Scotland goal, partner.
Brilliant cross in there. McTominay was going up, he gets a little bit of a header on it. It's behind him. I think it hits off his own player, possibly. Before, in fact, it possibly hit off. I'm trying to see who it was, but it certainly hit off a Scotland player. But McTominay again looking dangerous.
Yeah, I think it was Hendry who inadvertently got in the way of that one. Might well have ended up in the back of the net. Bolivia trying to come forward here on the left-hand side. Free kick has been awarded right on the very edge of the box. The angle, I think it was for a handball there. as the cross was fired in, and Scotland player Aaron Hickey got himself in the way but used the arm, in the referee's view at least, and the free kick is awarded just half a yard outside the angle of the box on that left hand side. And this is an opportunity for Bolivia to try and manufacture an opportunity and get themselves on the score sheet. Oh, there's going to be a yellow card here for Miguelito. I'm not sure clearly for someone he said there as he walked away from the referee.
I think he wanted a penalty, and maybe I've said that slightly too vociferously.
Well, VAR is in operation, so I imagine they'll have checked that or be checking it as we speak to ascertain whether it was in or outside. But Miguelito talking his way into the referee's notebook there.
Maybe he said something about his haircut. It's a bit vicious one, isn't it? It's a vicious...
The referees?
Oh, it's going for a vicious one. Although I have noted that the referee's got a very, very good touch. He controlled the ball earlier and it was superb.
I'm not sure either of us are best placed to comment on hairstyles, Pat. Let's leave it at that as Bolivia prepares to take the free kick. Left hand side again, the referee just trying to sort stuff out.
Remember, that's one of the other things Ali were talking about the World Cup, that the pulling and dragging in the box, they were going to come down hard on that as well. Now these referees they've all been given these instructions, so they must be considering that, so he'll be watching this closely.
Yeah. Scotland have to be on their toes here to keep their clean sheet intact as it's fired in. Gunn pushes it away, manages to keep that out. It's going to be picked up on the right hand side by Baka. Tries to get it back into the area. It's well won though by Gannon-Doak. Leapt well there, get the header well over the halfway line. Scotland still lead by 4-0. You listen to our international coverage here on BBC Radio Scotland and 5 Live Sports Extra, as Scotland have put on a real show in the first period and still leading by the 4-0 as Bolivia look to, it's hard pushed to say they'll get back into the game, but looking to try and make something of a game of it in this second half, as Miguelito picks up just inside Scotland territory out to the right hand side now, and the free kick given against McGinn for a challenge there on Robson Tomei, as the short free kick is quickly taken. Bolivia have it on the halfway line, looking to try and build something here. Scotland got again plenty numbers back, looking to ensure that they don't concede anything soft.
They've actually quickened up a wee bit, the Bolivians.
And it could be in here as Angus Gunn has to come out and smother off his line. I think there might have been a flag there at the last minute, but Gunn wasn't taking any chances as the ball was just lifted over the top there. He hasn't had to be too lively throughout, but he had to do some work on that occasion.
Just a tackle happened there, which was almost laughable when Santella tried to tackle Scott McTominay. In fact, as I pulled his jersey, that should be a yellow card. But the height difference there was quite noticeable. About a foot.
Certainly in a competitive fixture, that's a definite yellow card. I'm just noticing that Carlos Melgar is also on for the Bolivians. It looks like he's replaced Daniel Ribera up front. Melgar, one of the players who plies his trade in his homeland for Bolivia. It's back with the goalkeeper Vizcarra, who's been beaten on 4 occasions already this evening or this afternoon, depending on how you want to look at it. Bolivia building down here on the left hand side. It's Fernandez, who got forward a lot in that first half, not to any great effect, it has to be said, as McTominay picks up possession for Scotland deep in his own half and then tries to thread it forward. McGinn could be in behind here. Makasaga trying to get back with him. McGinn spins and then plays it out to his right hand side, and Adams just trying to get it square across the goal there, and just couldn't find Shankland. Eventually it's knocked behind for a corner kick, but the pass from McTominay from McGinn was another one. It was outstanding.
They are vicious on the break, Scotland. Absolutely superb. When they won that ball in the midfield there, immediately playing the right ball, getting it into players who are in a danger area. That is a great ball there by McTominay through to John McGinn. Maybe just a half a yard behind him. If it had been in front of him, he'd been 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper.
Maybe the slightly longer grass that Steve Clark was talking about not helping there, but here's McGinn with the corner to the back post. He's got too much whip on that, and it goes all the way behind for a goal kick. Disappointing end to that Scotland attack, and after 57 minutes it remains Bolivia 0, Scotland 4.
The unnoticeable thing is, you know, sometimes you see games that are played and it's very, very hot. You can tell when the players are struggling a wee bit, they're really sweating profusely and really struggling. Kind of doesn't look like with the Scotland players just now. You know, they're conserving the energy when they have to. When they're not on the ball, they're not chasing about madly. They're conserving their energy, they're getting into the right positions. And when they do, you know, burst forward at pace, they do it at the right times.
They'll be heading down to their base camp for the World Cup in Charlotte, North Carolina. After this game, that's where they're going to be, kind of midway in between Boston and Miami almost, so they'll jet up to the games. As there's another yellow card shown, this time it's for the substitute Melgar for not retreating as Scotland tried to take the free kick.
Well, they didn't retreat 4 times. I mean, they had time and time they had a chance to get back there. And as we speak, he's still not gone far away from the ball, has he?
Letting the referee get his name in the book. And you'd imagine this second half's going to be a little bit more stop-start. There's going to be changes, and with Scotland having such an emphatic advantage, it's going to be very difficult for Bolivia to make any real impact. There's Gannon-Doak with a lovely little turn down that right-hand side, trying to get away from Fernandes. Fernandes gets back, but there's McTominay at the byline, trying to cut it across. Ben Gannon-Doak has to pick himself back up, having been challenged by Fernandes, and he's won it back once again. Right-hand side, McTominay again bursts into the box, but he's just fouled his opponent there inside the penalty area. It will be a Bolivia free kick. But again, the turn from Ben Gannon-Doak is one Pat Nevin in his prime would have been proud of.
It's a very old school trick. It's one of those ones you kind of don't see anymore. You know, comes up to you, let it through your legs, expecting while we're watching this here, you know, there's a little hand there by McTominay. Obviously the defenders made a complete and utter meal of it, but you have to be careful, because remember, against Curacao had a player sent off. You know, to me it didn't look that vicious. The referees, I think he's understood there's no great intent there. But once again, Gannon-Doak, you know, it doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you get by the player. He got by him there brilliantly, and once again, maybe slightly surprised he's still on the field just now. We could be doing with wrapping him up in a wee bit of cotton wool.
Well, exactly. I mean, that turn in itself just kind of made me worry just in that split second, that in case the defender just kind of goes in rashly, because it's a kind of turn that, you know, sometimes defenders can take umbrage at if they're being beaten, and fortunately Ben Gannon-Doak was too swift for anything like that to happen. But yeah, absolutely don't want anything to happen to him, as McGinn pulls off another wonderful bit of skill to keep possession in a tight area. Now it's Hickey coming forward down the right hand side. Gannon-Doak with a little 1-2, lovely little layoff for Hickey, who charges into the penalty area, trying to get the ball back to Gannon-Doak on that right hand side. Now it's the Scotland players on the right who are playing in the sunshine in this half. Almost 2/3 of the pitch now in shadow, which will be a blessed relief for some of them as the ball's whipped in from the right hand side. Keeper comes out and punches well. Scotland pick up once more through Tierney. Tierney will just go back the way to Grant Hanley, just inside his own half, just beyond the hour mark. Scotland still leading by 4-0 as they did at half time, as McTominay sends it out to the left hand side. Great ball for Tierney. Tierney rolls it in near post, big chance. Oh, it should have been another one for Scotland. And Lawrence Shankland is absolutely furious with himself for missing that. It was a golden opportunity on a plate for him from Tierney at the near post, but somehow Shankland sends it wrong side of the upright, and it remains Bolivia 0, Scotland 4.
Well, the amount of times that he'll get a ball there and it's a goal before you even look at it. He goes for a side footer. It's one of those ones you have to take it with the outside of your feet and try and curl it round. from the right-hand side, and he didn't manage to do it there, and that was a chance to get another double. What an opportunity for him there, but didn't take it. But do not ignore the fact that the first real bit of play that you got from Kieran Tierney there, down the left-hand side, so much space there, and made fantastic use of it, and it should have been number 5.
We are getting a few changes here.
Well, I'm trying to talk and give you a chance, mate.
Yeah, you're doing your best, but these raft of changes, certainly George Hurst, Ross Stewart and Finlay Curtis have come on. Lauren Shanklin and Shea Adams among the players who've gone off. And
that'll be good to see a double, you know, those two playing up front together, Stewart and Hurst, to see if they can have, you know, develop any sort of understanding. You know, it's hard when you've not played together before, but they know it's been asked of them, and they've just watched a couple of players doing it precisely the way it should be done.
I think that's Ben Gannon-Doak's also gone off. Curtis has gone to the left-hand side, so McGinn's changed position again. But thankfully, Ben Gannon-Doak off with no apparent knocks, no injuries, and Shanklin will be still, despite having been replaced there, cursing his luck that he didn't add to his goal tally, which, I mean, you'd put money on him doing so.
Absolutely. Do you know, it's a funny thing, there was a little bit of psychology going on with Stevie Clark in the build-up to this game. There was a little hint that Curtis has maybe moved ahead of Ben Gannon-Doak because of, you know, the difficulty, which almost said to Ben Gannon-Doak, right, let's see what you've got. Good reaction, eh?
Yeah, very good reaction from Ben Gannon-Doak, if that was indeed what he was thinking, as Miguelito goes for an effort from distance, 25 yards out, but straight at Angus Gunn. A little bit of a trundling effort, no real hassle for the Scotland goalkeeper to take there. And again, not been overworked. Anything he has had to deal with, he's done absolutely fine with. 63.5 minutes in, and Scotland lead by 4-0.
Was that not the same though with Craig Gordon in the game against Curaçao? And not really a huge amount to do. Nothing could have done, I don't think, with the goal that was scored against him. But the way the defenders have made sure there's been limited amount. Certainly in the first half there wasn't a lot to do. So we will see how many people go for Gordon or Gunn.
Yes, indeed. All that analysis to come after the game this afternoon, this evening, as Scotland get themselves a free kick. Interestingly enough, Ross Stewart, just as Bolivia prepare to make a change here, Zabala coming on for Morales. And one more change as Villamil is replaced there. And Torres comes on for him. What I was going to say about Ross Stewart, this is just his 3rd Scotland cap, his first since the summer of 2022, when he came on against the Republic of Ireland, having made his debut as a late sub against Armenia in the previous game. He has had an injury hit season like a number of other Scotland players, Pat, but when he has been fit, he's scored a good number of goals for Southampton.
Absolutely. I actually think he's a very, very exciting player for Scotland. Not been able to see the best of him because of those injuries that he's had, and you know, he's up in the northeast, then he goes down to Southampton, but he was injured when he went down. But anyone I talked to him before that said, no, this guy's quality. This guy's he will score you goals if you give him opportunities. So there were a few eyebrows raised when Ollie McBurney didn't get the call, and Stewart got the call before him. But talking of pure natural, actual goal scorers, I think most people think that Stewart's probably got the edge just in that part of his game.
So he's given his opportunity here for the closing 25 minutes or thereabouts, as Curtis picks up left-hand side, goes beyond his man. It's the byline. Can he cut it back? He's challenged by Torres, the substitute, and he's behind for a Scotland corner. But already Finlay Curtis, he's so full of confidence right now, and showing exactly what he can do on that left-hand side.
And once again, in Scotland, bringing on young players, you know, very, very young players that are in this squad that do not lack belief, do not lack belief in their own ability to go and take on players at an international stage. And That's the first time he's got the ball. First thing he does, straight past his defender, gets to the byline, corner kick.
From the left-hand side, swung into the back post, and Hanley it was, rising, who nods it behind. Well wide in the end from Hanley. Again, it's a half a chance at least for Scotland as we approach the midway point in the second half. Still they lead by 4-0.
Yeah, I wonder if that's going to be one of the most important things. I think Andy was saying it earlier on to us before the game. The set pieces are so massively, massively important now, in the modern game generally, but in these games. And I know Haiti, watched the highlights of the Haiti game, that they lost their 2 goals late on.
Yep.
Both of them were from corner kick set pieces.
Sort of second balls at corners, weren't they? Yeah, Bolivia have it. Right on the right touchline. I think Miguelito's run that out of play though. It will be a Scotland throw-in. Not the referees. Oh, he's stopped the game again for another water break. Midway through this second period, players allowed to take on a few fluids. I mean, no more goals in this second half yet, Pat, but Scotland's still going about their business pretty effectively and pretty well.
Opportunities have been made. A couple of, certainly that one we just seen there crossed in. Another real good opportunity for McTominay, and lucky not to score with a header there. Getting to the bylines, right hand side, left hand side, the chance for Shankland as well. I mean, we don't actually usually do this very much. List all the chances that Scotland have got at the start of the first quarter of the first half of the second half, but they've done that, and they were just as good in the first half. So yeah, controlled. The players that they brought on, maybe we knew Tierney was capable of doing that. Got himself into good positions, not been daft about it, not been stupid, not been flying forward unnecessarily, just doing enough there to get into the right positions and turning up. And he'll be slightly disappointed that he didn't get an assist for that. But once again, changes have been made, and each one who's walked onto that field, I was going to say in the dark blue strip. It's not really dark blue, is it? So what colour are we going for?
Well, I was going salmon pink. I've heard others. What's the other one that some people use? Can't remember. But anyway, yeah, it looks like Kenny McLean's going to come on. We're seeing some shots of Scotland fans round the ground enjoying a few light refreshments, and yeah, it's a good crowd that's turned out. It's by no means full, the Sports Illustrated Stadium in Harrison, New Jersey, but given that it's a week out from the main competition, it's been
few expats out there as well.
You would say so, yeah.
Plenty of them there as well, and it's kind of hard because everybody knows that the expense of this World Cup is actually incredible. You know, so difficult for Scotland fans, indeed all fans, to A, get across, B, afford to be able to stay there, and travelling is expensive, and that's even before we get to the tickets.
Yeah, you'd imagine it would have been easier to get tickets for this one than it is for the 3 actual group matches, as Kenny McLean comes on for Scott McTominay for the closing 20 minutes of the 90, plus a little bit of added on time at the end, no doubt. Scotland leading by 4-0 in this final warm-up match ahead of the World Cup. How good does that continue to sound after 28 years of an absence? As Tierney, there's a long throw down the left-hand side. Hurst tries to win it. Curtis is in there battling away at the edge of the box. Stewart's there as well. Bolivia, they'll pick up the loose ball but then knock it out of play on this left-hand side, partly down to Scotland harrying and hassling them there high up the pitch, and Tierney will get another opportunity here from the throw-in, about 25 yards from the corner flag. 20 to play. Scotland 4 goals up. As Tierney thinking about a long throw-in here. We've got the height of Stewart to aim for. It's over him though. It's half clear by Bolivia, picked up again by Tierney just outside the box. Bolivia again though regain possession. Curtis snaps in, and then so does Tierney, claiming the throw-in, but the referee has other ideas and awards it to the Bolivians deep in their own territory. It's Makasaga on the right hand side. Down the right it comes for Bolivia, but that's going to bounce out of play. It'll be a Scotland throw-in. It's the first time they've ever played Bolivia. It looks like they're going to come out well on top, having done so against Curaçao as well. First time they played them, and after a tricky first half, let's say, they got the better of Curaçao by 4-1. It's Curtis who played a big role in that, coming on in the first half for the unfortunate Billy Gilmore. Really desperate news for him in that game, going down just after playing an innocuous pass, nothing in it at all. It's cost Billy Gilmore his place at the World Cup, unfortunately. Here's Tierney out to the left hand side for Curtis, looking to take his opportunity here. Back in field for Tierney. And now Jack Henry plays it square for Grant Hanley, just about 10 yards inside the Bolivia half. Scotland enjoying some possession, but not going anywhere with it just yet. Now Hanley steps forward. There's a short pass into McGinn, who's operating on the right hand side. He plays it forward to Hurst, who couldn't control it, and Bolivia pick up left hand side and will try and clear it. It's gone out of play though, and Scotland will get the throw in.
It's very noticeable there with John McGinn did his usual trick. I don't have to explain it to many people who know John McGinn's style. He just rolled the player and went past him. It's a shame Hurst couldn't actually hold the ball up. What's interesting here, I think it's been a much more grown-up performance from the Bolivians in the second half. They are a wee bit better together, they're a wee bit better structured. You notice when the ball's coming out on the left-hand side to Curtis there, he's got 2 and 3 players between him and the byline. Whereas you saw Gannon Doak in the first half, it's 1-1. It's a piece of cake. You just need to beat one player and you're in there. He's just got the ball there, Finlay Curtis. He had 3 players between him and the byline. They've matured a wee bit. They've thought, well, we're not going to lose by 8 or 9. We're going to be more sensible, and they have been a bit more.
Yeah, talking of that, John McGinn, the typical backing in with the backside out. He was talking about that in the excellent Kevin Bridges documentary, which I would encourage everyone to watch if you get a chance. It's on the iPlayer. Kevin Bridges talking to his old schoolmate John McGinn. Both went to the same school in Clydebank, and McGinn saying that he honed that tactic on the ash pitches of Clydebank when he was playing against the older lads. But then Kevin Bridges ventures across to Brazil for some more really interesting insights. It's definitely worth a watch if you get a chance pre-World Cup. Here comes Scotland. I'm sure a few of the players had that downloaded for the flight across to the States. Ball's out for a goal kick though. Just about 16 minutes left in this second period. Scotland cruising to victory, 4 goals up, as Bolivia ponder another change here in this second half. 16-year-old Nabil Nassif, I see, getting stripped and ready to come on for a debut, as Bolivia look to play out from the back once more. On the right hand side, under pressure though from Curtis, as back up, plays it back in field to Torres, as here a rendition of Flower of Scotland being struck up inside the Sports Illustrated Stadium.
I mean, dare I say it, if there was one player I would like to see coming on now for Scotland, it would be Tyler Fletcher. I'd really like to see him coming on now, getting a little taste of it again, getting used to all the players around him. And not just for what he could do possibly in the World Cup, but certainly what, the future. If you've actually played in one World Cup when you're a very young player, or get the odd minutes just around it, it'll help your development a huge amount.
Bolivia in possession on the halfway line. Forward it goes out on that left hand side. Scotland still resolute though, showing no signs of allowing Scotland in, and it's been given up to Scotland in a very good area. Hurst overruns it. She'd really done better there, because he was presented with a real gift and he had runners either side of him. George Hurst just took a heavy touch, and I'm not sure I thought he did pretty well in the March friendlies. I'm not sure over the course of the last couple he's done his chances of certainly starting the games any great favours.
Sometimes you watch certain players and you think, you're trying too hard now. You just try and play it's easy to say, just try and play your normal game. Do what you do well, instead of every time I get the ball I need to do something extra special to get myself in the team. I understand that sentiment. Every player's done it at some point in time, but on that occasion you're thinking, okay, you've got your mate with you. As a duo up front, you've got to work together.
Bolivia have it back just outside their own penalty area though. Another little loose pass, but it goes back to the goalkeeper, Vizcarra beaten 4 times in that first period. He's picked up by Marasaga on the right hand side, clipped forward, but Hanley well in charge of that situation ahead of Miguelito, and back to the goalkeeper it goes. Angus Gunn has been virtually untroubled throughout the 76.5 minutes that were played so far. Kieran Tierney out to Curtis. You're listening to Scotland against Bolivia, final World Cup warm-up, live on BBC Radio Scotland and 5 Live Sports Extra. As Scotland are preparing another 3 changes of their own. Next time the ball goes out of play, Tierney just turns it back to Gunn once more. It is certainly feeling a lot more like a friendly match in this second period, Pat.
Yeah, it's hard to keep it going, you know, the way it was smoothly before when you've made so many changes. We all know that's the case, but also I think Bolivia have stepped it up a little bit. They've got behind the ball a bit more. I think the manager's probably had a word. So don't embarrass yourself and change the team a little bit, made them a little bit more defensive. In Scotland, why take massive chances just now? You know, it's a World Cup to look forward to. You don't want to take unnecessary chances when you could get injured. So can I get why it's kind of slowed down a little bit in these last 15-20 minutes?
Bolivia have it at the back, just at walking pace just at the moment, just over 12 to play. The various substitutes from either side waiting patiently for the ball to go out so that they can get on and get a taste of the action. Bolivia just playing it about at the back right now as Hakim plays it forward. It's another loose pass and Hurst almost in. Again, Hakim just seeing that back to the keeper, who lashes it long and over the halfway line. Hanley underneath it, heads it back forward. Brought down, but Curtis almost nicking it. Makasaga emerges with possession. Bolivia work it out to the left hand side, trying to find themselves a consolation, is all it would be at this stage with just over 10 minutes left on the clock. 4-0 they trail, 4 goals in the first period for Scotland. Shankland with the opener, McTominay, and then a double from Shea Adams as both he and Shankland make a real case for a starting place. Kenny McLean penalised about 30 yards from goal, and that will be an opportunity for Bolivia to test Scotland, but also potentially a chance for the subs to get on.
Also, Kenny McLean making a free kick there. Look, Scotland 4-0 up. It's a friendly. You know, they're not going to lose it here, but don't make those sort of challenges when it's, you know, when it matters, because you could give yourself real problems if you do that, because that's a dangerous area to put the ball in from. So yeah, I'll understand it just now because it's, you know, the end of the game, a little bit of frustration. McLean's trying to get into the game, but certainly don't do that when it comes to Haiti.
You're going to get your wish here, Pat. Tyler Fletcher's coming on for Lewis Ferguson as the 2 central defenders are also replaced. Hanley and Hendry make way for Suter and Hyam, Dominic Hyam of Wrexham, who's coming into the reckoning now. As Bolivia line up this free kick, but not before they have made their own change. Just the one for them at the moment. It's Nabil Nassif, who I mentioned earlier on. The 16-year-old coming on to replace Robson Tomey in the middle of the park. Debut for the teenager. And on to see if we can get on the end of this free kick first and foremost, which is about 28 yards or thereabouts. Been lined up here by Carlos Melga. Looks like he might fancy a crack at goal here, left of centre. Low drive right into the wall though. No test there yet again for Angus Gunn. Bolivia pick up possession through Makasaga. Steve Clark still learning things in this second half, even though it's been that little bit more bitty, Pat.
Yeah, you're going to see what the attitude of the players is like as I say that. Good defending there. I think that was offside amount. In fact, the referee has called it back now. Yeah, I think there is. I mean, it has been quite bitty, but I mean, I think you look at Curtis coming on and immediately we're running at defenders. Now, he's not shone as brightly as Gannon Doak did, but he's playing in a different game now. He's playing in a game where there's 3 players marking him, or, you know, 2, at least 2 most of the time marking him. There's not so much space to run into. But the players that have come on, every one of them look generally pretty comfortable. Just seeing the one player that made me raise my eyes a little bit, Hurst, he's put himself about a bit, but it's not kind of went for him yet. He's managed to get a free kick there. So getting the tackle from the back.
Yeah,
It's not in a dangerous area though.
Makasaga with a late challenge there. Gets Scotland a free kick just inside the Bolivia half. Tyler Fletcher then coming on for his second appearance. Young man, son of Scotland legend Darren, who will be extremely envious of his son in the sense that he never got to play a World Cup. One of many real great Scotland players who missed out on that opportunity because of that 28-year gap in qualifying. But I'm sure the envy is massively outweighed by the pride that he will feel as his 19-year-old son takes the place of Billy Gilmer. Late call up to the squad, and here he is in possession, winning a free kick midway inside his own half.
It's actually a wee tester for him, that one, because he's got the ball, it's in a dangerous area, he has to turn back towards his own goal, but he manages to put his body in the way and wins the free kick, so he played that very cleverly.
Ball over the top there looking for George Hurst, but he couldn't quite latch on to it, nodded back to the goalkeeper. And so with 7.5 minutes remaining of the 90, still Bolivia 0, Scotland 4, all 4 goals coming in a terrific first half, which will give Steve Clarke a lot of positivity going into the opening game of the World Cup in a week's time against Haiti, which will be live with us here on the BBC across all our platforms. Join us for that. I'm sure most of the nation will be tuning in one way or the other. As here's Dominic Hyam just going back the way to Gunn. Dom Hyam, certainly any time I've seen him, and it's certainly mainly been in Scotland games, he's not really put a foot wrong. But lots of players vying for those central defensive positions, as we've discussed. It's going to be a free kick to Bolivia as Ralston, who I must admit didn't even notice was on the park, must have replaced Hickey at some stage, but he's gone over the top and he's got a yellow card.
He's just given a yellow card for that. Now, I've mentioned about the fact he tackles from the back. He's just gone up for a header, Ralston, there. I honestly don't think it was a foul, and he's given him a yellow card for it. And there is a conversation I'm sure we'll have later, is if they're going to be that strict and that stringent about those sort of free kicks, it's going to be a very, very strange staccato World Cup. You know, but that's far too easy to be given yellow cards for something as innocuous as that. And by the way, I would add the sending off Curacao.
Yeah,
I thought that was very, very harsh indeed.
Yeah, after a VAR review as well, initially a yellow card, and that kind of felt at the time that was probably enough, but it seems to have split opinions. Some people thought the red was the right call, but it kind of spoiled the game in many ways, and I'm sure Steve Clarke would have preferred Curacao to remain with 11. They were giving Scotland a real test at that stage. In the end, Scotland run out comfortable winners. As Tierney picks up here, they're certainly going to be comfortable winners in this particular game. With 5 to play, they lead by 4-0. Certainly the first half was a really impressive run out. The second half with all the changes has been a little bit different. Here come Bolivia looking to strike at goal. It's a poor effort from almost 25 yards out. Could have continued travelling there, I felt. Marcelo Torres coming forward from the back, but took the shot on, and it really was never going to test.
The problem actually was Taylor Fletcher. I have to be honest about it. When the ball's played across him, that position that Billy Gilmore played for Scotland and McTominay's played in the first half there, when the ball's played into you there, you must protect it. You are the last line of the midfield. You give away the ball, even if you give it away, you probably have to give a free kick away in that sort of situation. He kind of got away with it the first time. He's not got away with it there. He's not quite got to the pace of this game yet, Tyler. But then maybe that's understandable.
Scotland have it at the back. It's John Souttar. Just rolls it back to Angus Gunn inside his 6-yard box. 4 minutes left of the 90s. Kenny McLean gets it back to John Souttar. Out to the left-hand side for Tierney, who's galloping forward and checks back just inside Bolivia half into the feet of Stewart, and then Kenny McLean with that wonderful left foot of his fires it out to the right hand side for Ralston, who swings it into the box. A good ball, and Stewart got on the end of it but directs it wide. Not sure how much connection he actually made with it, but it's another really good Scotland move, much more like they produced in the first half, as Lopez and Viviani prepare to come on for Bolivia. But Ross Stewart so close to a first Scotland goal.
It's a great ball though. It's a fantastic ball by Ralston. He's goes down the right hand side there. You just put that classic one, you just zip it in between the centre backs and goalkeeper, and you know you've done your job. You know, if neither of them get that, it's up to your strikers to get onto it. I do think Scotland got very close to it. Stewart was, to my eyes, within a couple of centimetres of getting on the end of that there. And that's again, if you're playing two up front, you know, you want to make sure that they've got something to feed off. You've got to certainly serve them up with something, and that's, since the Shanklin chance, that's probably the best one Scotland have made.
Yeah, those are the only two I've got noted down in the second half. Here's Hurst still going for goal, and that's just wide as well. Really made that one for himself. George Hurst inside the penalty area, and he just lashes it across goal and didn't miss by much. So Scotland coming close on two occasions within the space of a minute, but it's still Bolivia 0, Scotland 4.
That's much better from him there, because it's kind of been odd when he's come on. His touch hasn't been absolutely perfect, but you have to remember, you have to play yourself into games. It's not easy sometimes. You have to get to the pace of it, you have to get to the conditions of it. You're playing against players who are up to the pace of the game all the time, and actually you just watch the last couple of things that he's done. He's held it up well, Hurst, and that time turns, smashes it towards the back post, and he's a bit unlucky. And as I say that, he's held the ball up again there perfectly well, so just a little bit rusty in these first few touches.
There's Fletcher out to Curtis, left hand side for Scotland. Comes back in field, tries to clip it inside, but comes off a Bolivian player out for a throw in to Scotland, well inside the Bolivia half. Just about 90 seconds of the 90 minutes left to play, and then we'll have a few minutes of injury time. Scotland leading by 4-0.
Well, seeing as Scotland have made 10 changes, we might have to get substitution changes as well. Might take a few minutes.
Hopefully the referee isn't of a mind to add on the 30 seconds that he's supposed to add on for every.
Some of them are done in threes.
Yeah, exactly.
Give them that.
Here's Fletcher losing out though. Little pull back there, and it's going to be a free kick to Bolivia just outside their own penalty area as we enter the final minute of the 90 in Harrison, New Jersey. And it's been a very valuable run out, I think, all told, Pat Evan, for Scotland this afternoon, stroke this evening.
It is. You score a bunch of goals, you play extremely well at creating chances. I mean, the hardest thing in the game to do is make chances. And Scotland have made a bunch of chances in the first half, and 3-4 very good ones in the second half as well. But more important that as we speak, we're just about ticking towards the 90 minutes. It's a clean sheet, and you know what defenders feel about that. That would be very, very big, and seeing as Stevie Clark was the defender, it will mean a huge amount to him.
And I think everyone who spoke about it pre-match, what they wanted from this game was no injuries, and it looks like, touch wood, that's going to be the case, that Scotland have got through this game pretty much unscathed in that regard as well.
Yeah, one or two players, and we watched John McGinnis come in. He's done well, he's done a few things that we know he's capable of doing. Is he playing within himself? Absolutely. He is. He's just doing enough, just what he needs to do at the moment.
Here come Bolivia looking to get on the score sheet as we enter stoppage time. 3 minutes only added on at the end as McGinn picks up and feeds it out to the left hand side. Will Curtis be able to catch that one? Not quite.
It's so infuriating that if you're a wide player and you know you're coming on and you're only going to get a certain amount of time to run at a defender and get the ball in space, and the ball's played just ahead of you. Very, very frustrating. He's done okay though, Finlay Curtis. He came on at the start, got to the byline first time, and he's been neat and tidy in all his work.
Bolivia have it at the back, trailing by 4-0 with the match nearly over. Scotland can be well pleased with their efforts over the course of the last couple of hours, but particularly of that first half. Steve Clark will enthuse about it in his own way when we hear from him post-match. Bolivia,
that'll be a subdued win then.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll have been positively purring inside the way his side played in that first half. Some of their attacking play was a joy to watch. Here come Bolivia looking to find a way through. Fletcher penalised for his challenge, and Bolivia will get a free kick and a late opportunity to try and get themselves on the score sheet. Fletcher pretty unlucky there to give away the free kick, isn't he?
Honestly, the ease in which you're getting free kicks off of this referee. I mean, he's not been awful, the referee. It's just been a couple of things you think just slightly over picky, but remember, they've got the rules and what they're to be stressing have been handed down to them, the referees.
Free kick then clipped into the Scotland penalty area, headed out pretty well, and allows Curtis to pick up, and then he's dragged to the ground. And it's going to be, well, I think
it should have been.
Every definitely went to his pocket, was threatening the yellow card, and then Makasaga threw the ball back to Scotland and managed to escape the booking, which in the final minute of injury time in a rather meaningless friendly for Bolivia, then it's probably not worth picking up a booking. And Scotland ease to this victory. They did all the hard yards in that first period, getting the 4 goals, and now they are just cruising towards the final whistle. But John McGinn might fancy a late strike. He does, but it's not going to end up in a goal. Straight into the arms there of the Bolivian number 1, Vizcarra, and John McGinn from the angle of the box denied.
What was also good at Al there, the ball was played in there, the 2 centre forwards are going hammering in towards it, as was the left winger as well, all going to the end.
There's a final whistle in New Jersey. An emphatic victory for the Scots. 4-0 they win against Bolivia. All 4 goals coming in a tremendous opening 45 minutes. All started by Lawrence Shankland, created by a combination of Christie and Robertson. And when the skipper stood it up to the back post, Shankland was there to head into the top corner to make it 1-0. Shea Adams had a couple of efforts, just missing the target before Scott McTominay got himself on the score sheet midway through the first period. An effort from just outside the penalty area, managing to beat the keeper into his bottom corner to make it 2. And then Adams did get on the score sheet, not once but twice before half time. First of all on the half-hour mark, played in, rolled in by Ben Gannon-Doak after a wonderful through ball by Aaron Hickey, and then right on the stroke of half time, a terrific run from Gannon-Doak. The ball ended up with Adams inside the penalty. He got the break of the ball initially, and he made the most of it as he hammered it past the keeper to make the half-time score 4-0. Scotland continued to dominate in the second period without the same clinical attitude in front of goal. Shankland had a poor miss just after the hour mark, and then Stewart and Hurst late in the game might have had goals after coming on as substitutes, but you cannot deny that Scotland were well worthy of the emphatic victory. It finishes in Harrison, New Jersey, in Scotland's final World Cup warm-up match. Bolivia